Yeah, because we had an intermission there, so we want to make sure that people didn't forget. What are two things you need to build this business? Exactly, very good. And you need to have for mental toughness. What is a simple test for mental toughness?
How quickly can you
Yeah, how quickly after no can you set an appointment? Because if you can do that, trust me, you are more mentally tough than most people. So the next part we were talking about is prospecting, and you rated yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. So how many of you rated yourself at 8 or above? Okay, so if you rated yourself 8 or above, tell me, keep your hands raised if you have 5+ names every day. 5+ names every day. So your results tell the story. If you don't have, thank you. If you don't have 5+ names a day, don't write 8. Don't write 8. Why fool yourself? Right? Because 8 is minimum, in my opinion, to get to the next level in your business, right? So don't tell me you're good in prospecting if your numbers are not there. Right? If somebody says I'm rich but their account balance is 0, it doesn't sound like a really good idea, does it? Okay? Again, this is not a 101, this is 501, right? You got that, right? So if you do not have 5+ names and numbers a day, the only thing you need to focus on first for the next week is getting 20 names a day. What did I say? You're like, how the heck get 20 names a day? Yeah, here's what it is. I didn't say 20 names and numbers, did I? I said 20 names a day. What I want you to do is break through your fear of talking to people. Now, first simple thing is you go to a cash register somewhere and Gina already has a name tag, so I can say, hi Gina. Great, thank you Gina, I'm doing great. Okay, so looking at her name tag, I know her name. Can you do that 20 times in a day?
Yeah.
If you don't make that a habit, you're not going to bring 5 names and numbers a day.
That's good.
Is that making sense to you?
Yeah.
That's as simple as it gets. Everybody. Now, next week when we come back, you better have practiced this if you're serious, right? Because again, this is not a business where you hope someday you will make money. I know a lot of people thought they bought a larger ticket, but it's not the way that works. What works is very simple, doing the work. Overcoming fear and skill set. It's not going to be any more complicated in any business. Now my sister-in-law works at Chinese restaurant, actually she owns it. She works 10 to 10, 7 days a week. She hasn't taken a weekend off in 15 years. In 15 years, she hasn't taken a weekend off. You tell me about work, this lady knows how to work. Okay? That is what other businesses are. So if you tell me you can't get 20 names a day, I know you really don't believe in your dream, your fears are too big. Your fears are too big. So how many of you will make a dent in your fears this week? You'll go out and get 20 names a day. Now you won't just do it unless somebody holds you accountable. So find a person next to you and tell them you will, and you'll hold each other accountable, right? Find a person. Find a person. Find a person to hold you accountable. You gotta get 20 names a day. Am I being too tough on you?
What names and numbers?
No, names. Names. 20 names a day. You get 20 names a day, I know you are improving in prospecting. Huh? Exactly. But that's uncomfortable, guess what? But that's what will make you money. So how many of you, without a shadow of doubt, are convinced and are committed that in the next 7 days, by the time we have the Tuesday meeting, we will have, or you would have actually done every day by conscious choice, not I hope today I will run into people and then I'll see what I do. No, you'll actually consciously go and meet 20 people a day. How many of you are really committed? Not just next week I'll ask again. And if you can't or you don't, you just are not serious. Would that be okay? Okay. What is the next thing after prospecting is setting appointments. Now Kayla used to do that for a living, and hence she obviously mastered a certain skill that most people who come in this business don't have it, right? Okay, so setting appointments, if you're not setting enough appointments, which are most of the people in this room here, okay, what you need to do is start listening to the appointment setting CD every day. Every day, at least once a day. So how many of you feel you did not set enough appointments this week? Okay, good. So your job is take that appointment setting CD and have it in your car and every day listen to it at least once. Because what? The way Ian thinks and talks about appointment setting is what you and I need to think about. I'm in the same boat like you, right? I'm not where he is, right? So if I don't do what I need to do, which is get uncomfortable, listen to stuff that I don't want to normally, right? It might be better than some music that you might like to play, but guess what? You have to realize that that is what you have to have in your brain over and over and over. So what is your assignment if you have not set enough appointments? Every day, right? Because it's not any more than that. Now some of you are setting appointments, some of you are in the third step. What is the third step, right? Presentation, right? Presentation. Now Ian has his KT presentation online. I recorded that on audio CD and distributed that as well. So you have ways to learn the presentation. Right now you cannot learn, I don't recommend learning the presentation by going and doing a presentation for real, because first you have to practice with some people. So how many of you rate yourself, well let me go back to the appointment setting. Appointment setting 0 to 10, how many of you rate yourself 7 and above or 8 and above if you set at least 5 appointments a day? If you set 5 appointments a day, you are at 8 or above, right? So how many of you can rate yourself 8 or above? 5 appointments a day. If you do 5 appointments a day, eventually you'll get where you want to go. So if it is 3, maybe you put yourself as 7. So rate yourself right now on appointment setting. Just rate yourself. Whatever that is, right? You may be a 0 if you set 0 appointments a day, right? But just be honest about it. If you don't know where you are, it's like I want to lose weight, but I don't want to find out how much I weigh. Pretty tough. Pretty tough, right? So presentation, rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. If you have confidence that when you sit across from somebody, you can close them. Now you will never close 100%, none of us do, right? Okay? Most of us will have some objection, right? But some will think it over or whatever else it is. But you are confident that if you are in front of them, you know your presentation enough, you know how to overcome objections, that you will actually close them. Rate yourself on 0 to 10. 0 means you don't do presentations in a week. 0 presentations in a week. Your score is 0. Right? Because there is nothing you can change about it, because if you don't make a presentation, you can't close it, right? Because I'm not looking for theory knowledge. I'm not looking for those who say, hey, I know the presentation, but I haven't made one in 2 weeks. Don't tell me that. You don't know the presentation. Don't tell me you know the presentation, right? So let's go back to the point. It's like if you know the presentation and you are able to close at least 25%, 20% at least, 25% something in that range, then you can rate yourself 6, 7. And if you close 40%, you can go up to 8. Right? Because again, you don't have to score everybody, right? It's not everybody. Okay. So rate yourself on that. Overcoming objections is another one you should rate yourself on. How many of you can rate yourself on that? So if somebody says, I want to think about it. If somebody says, I don't have the money. Right? If somebody says, I have another planner, I have a whole life policy or whatever else, right? You know how to overcome objections. Rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. Again, if you haven't been on appointments lately, it is 0. I apologize, but I'm being very straight with you. If you're not going on appointments, not easy. Okay? And if you have the confidence, you will overcome objections. Okay? Recruiting across KT, right? So, when you have a kitchen table and you're recruiting people, rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. How good are you in recruiting people when they are in front of you, especially a couple, right? Rate yourself on 0 to 10. 0. Then the next step is what? Getting your, forgot about that. Knowing your products. How many of you know your products? Now most people in Relentless, I think, know the products. You can rate yourself high in that range. But I'll just test something here. How many of you here have life insurance on yourself through Primerica? How many of you do not have life insurance through Primerica on you?
You don't?
You don't.
I can't. So,
Well, that's fine. You can raise your hand, and that's okay. You can.
Uninsurable.
Uninsurable. Yeah. So if you are uninsurable, you're an exception, right? But if you could have life insurance through Primerica and you do not have life insurance through Primerica, raise your hand. Okay. I'm glad. Give yourself a round of applause. That's awesome. How many here have an IRA, Roth IRA, or some version of a program through Primerica? Raise your hand. Okay, how many of you do not have but could have? You could have, like $50 a month, right? You could have, but you don't have it. Why not? Why not? Go open one tomorrow, maybe tonight. I don't want anybody coming in this room again saying I don't have $50 a month to deposit for my own future. Please don't tell me that. Because it's just not smart. What are we teaching people to buy term? Invest the difference. If you're not doing it, don't tell me you are going to teach that to other people. Am I being okay with you? I'm just being honest, right? I didn't say this is 101, right? Okay, the next one is what? Prepaid legal. How many here have prepaid legal? Raise your hand clearly. How many of you do not have prepaid legal? Raise your hand. Okay. Why do you not have prepaid legal? Don't you like making money? If you don't have prepaid legal, how likely are you going to sell it? Zero. I've had prepaid legal before joining Primerica for the last 15 years. I don't leave home without it, right? Okay? Now, if you don't have prepaid legal, there are two reasons. Number one is you think it is expensive, which $25 a month is not expensive, okay? Or you're not convinced about the value. So whoever recruited you or your RVP, go and tell them, hey, I'm open to learning about our products. Minesh said we should get prepaid legal. Could you go over that with me to make sure I understand the value so I can buy? Because the first month you get paid $15 just to pay the 25 plus 30, $10, 35. So you get paid 50, you pay 35. So you actually have $15 coming in the first month, and if you keep selling one a month, you'll have more money to pay for your prepaid legal coverage. So how many of you are going to actually go and talk to your upline and get yourself clear on why you should have prepaid legal? Okay. Here is an example I'll give you. This is when I used to have, I used to live in Florida, also 6 months out of the year, and I had a friend who drove me to the airport from my place. He was from Michigan. He had come to visit me, but he was dropping me off at the airport. On the way, he got a ticket. And I was like, man, you are dropping me off to the airport and you're getting a ticket. He says, Dinesh, don't worry, I have prepaid legal. So when he went back to Michigan, he sent in his ticket, and his lawyer showed up in the Tampa court while this guy was in Michigan. Okay? And the lawyer showed up, but the cop did not. How many of you know what happens then?
Dismissed.
Dismissed. That's simple. Right? So that's just one example. I can give you countless examples. So prepaid legal, if you say you know about your product and you don't have prepaid legal, you are losing money. You are losing money. Why would you like to make money on your own product? So those are the three basic products that you must have. What are those three basic products? Life insurance, investment, and prepaid legal. So how many of you will come back next week making sure you have all three products? Yeah. I know somebody raised like this, so I saw that too. So raise it like this if you're loud and clear on it. So if you have all three products and you know enough about the product, you can rate yourself high enough, right? I'm perfectly fine. You don't have all three products, you can't know products. You can't tell me, Nish, I know all the products, except you don't have your own IRA. Like, come on, it doesn't work like that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Because we have to practice what we preach, otherwise you're not really working very well in this business. Okay, very good. So now let's go to the part which is what? Overcoming objections, right? And recruiting across KD. We did that already. Did everybody score themselves on 0 to 8 on 0 to 10 on that?
Yes.
Okay. What is the next one? Getting recruit off to a fast start. Getting recruit off to a fast start.
Is this off of the ones that don't quit or the ones that do?
Either way.
Well, here's how I would say. What percentage of your people become 3 by 3 in the first 30 days? That's the question I would ask. If the percentage is at least 25%, you are really good. If 25% of the people you recruit do that, then you are good at it. Because you know, like I've recruited people that by the time they went to the parking lot to their car, they were gone. Anybody else seen that, right? They went to a fast start somewhere else. Not my fast start, right? Okay. The last but not least we added was what? Getting people to big events. So how many of you have at least one person coming with you to Super Saturday? Wow, a lot of you. So then you are better. You can score yourself relatively okay, right? Because you're getting people to at least somebody. How many of you do not have anyone coming to the next event? Raise your hand. You don't have any tickets sold for somebody on your team or anybody else. Raise your hand. So you obviously need work. Right? So I would not rate myself at anything other than 0 on that one. Because getting people off starts with somebody, one person, right? Now if you got yourself, that's a plus. So at least I'm happy that you're doing that. But if you're not getting yourself there, then it should be minus something, right? You're not even in the game, right? Now if you don't get anybody there, you're at 0. If you get one person there, now you can move forward as much as you want. Right? Again, it depends on the percentage of people in your team, so on and so forth. But I want to give you some sense of where you are. So now that we have done this quick review of the fundamentals and get you to score something, how many of you feel, based on what you saw the numbers on your sheet, not what your intentions are, not what somebody hopes for, is on track to be RVP? Like really being RVP. Like you look at your numbers, you are scoring at least 7+ in every category. If you are scoring 7+ in every category, you are ready to be RVP in the near future. Again, you can improve. Yes, go ahead. You had a question, Deborah? So, somebody, who had a question? Somebody had a comment? But that is the key. That is the key, right? You and I need to be honest with ourselves. Here's what I'll tell you. You don't get to 7 in these categories, I'm sorry to disappoint you. RVP is not in your near future. I know that doesn't sound nice,
That was pretty harsh for that.
but that is really true. I don't want to be teaching people saying, hey, you can be RVP, but do nothing now this above. You can just show up to Tuesday and Friday, you'll be RVP. I'm not going to be that guy.
Right.
You don't want to be a weak RVP.
Well, I don't know. I don't think most people will be RVP if they have at least not 7 in most categories. Would you agree, Josh? Okay. Kayla, would you agree with me in that? Huh? You are saying? You said? Huh?
I
I agree too. Aristida, would you agree with me on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to impress you with me or anything. I'm just telling you, if you went to a college and you were taking courses and you had D or F in everything, how likely are you going to really score well in your academics? If you scored F everywhere, you're not going to get where you want to go. Drop out, whatever will happen. Now, again, here's good news and bad news, right? So if you and I don't have the body like Chris, right? I'm not talking about any women here because all women are good looking, so we won't talk about that. But Chris is obviously exceptional in the way he looks. Now, I hope nobody else is jealous. I'm only talking about Chris. But at this moment, I can see he's the best, right? Okay, so Chris.
and actually, do you need to tell us something?
I want his body. Don't worry about it. I'm very safe in myself, so don't worry about it. I'm very safe. I'm very secure in my way of looking at it. So Chris, if somebody wanted to look like you, right?
Right.
If somebody wanted to look like you, and they showed up at gym maybe once a year, how likely are they going to have that body?
Not likely.
Never.
He goes,
Never, right?
Right.
Never. How often do you have, I don't know about that one. How often do you have to go to gym to look like what you look like?
At least 3 to 5 a week.
3 to 5. And again, not just show up, right?
Right.
How much do you have to work out to get that? An hour?
Yes.
Okay. So if somebody came to Chris and said, hey, I need a game plan to look like you. I need to have a game plan, say I look buff, right? And the person said, I'll only show up to gym once every week, 2 weeks maybe. What is Chris going to say? It's not happening.
that chance.
Bad chance. Bad chance. Right? So again, I'm not here to make you fearful or drag you out of business. But I do want you to be aware that where you are is where you are. Okay? Where I am is where I am. And it's not a coincidence why Ian has the results he has. Right? I mean, Josh went RVP very quickly. Kayla should be going RVP shortly as well. She's gone very quickly. Tanya, you going RVP this month?
Yes.
Okay, good. This is why you're watching, right?
Yeah.
So, again, Aristida did a great job. But it just didn't happen. That's what I want you to know. Okay? I don't want you to come here and feel that just by coming you will get successful. But yeah, coming is #1 requirement, right? Here is what I will say to my people who are on my team. You show up Tuesday, Friday consistently. And you are willing to go like 20 names a day. And you have enough skill to be independent so that you can actually, have a KD presentation and close people. I guarantee I will give you whatever support you need to get you to RVP. That's my guarantee to anybody on my team. Why? Because if they have the basic ingredients, I can work and help them get there. Would you agree with me on that? Unless this makes sense, right? It's like if you have the basic ingredients of working hard, you will get where you want to go. I just started on a routine for exercising, right? So I had to be at the gym at 6 o'clock. Like, whoa, that's too early, right? Okay? And I've been showing up more often than not. Obviously, if I'm not in town, not feeling well, or sick or something, that's only a couple of exceptions. Other than that, I'm there, consistently. But I don't want to be sick further, right? So, but the bottom line is what? I will do what it takes to be in shape that I need to. Because I've committed myself. I will be there, I'll do the things I need to do. And the main thing is what? If I don't do it, the results are automatic, right? So before you go to bed, ask yourself, are you committed to getting 20 names a day? Like that may sound like a lot. But if you go to different places and see people's name tags. I was at Dunkin' Donuts, the lady helping me at the counter, her name is Lisa. The other one preparing the drink, her name is Sabrina. The lady who owns it is Veronica. How did I get 3 names at the same place?
Okay, now Manesh,
Yes.
you're just getting names. You've not made contact, you've not spoken with them. That's all we have to do is get names.
Get names. Here's what will happen. Some people you'll have to go shake hands to get their names.
Right.
So it's starting to get you uncomfortable, right? But 20 names a day, you'll have something. And then you start becoming names and numbers. Because what are we doing? One step at a time. Why 20 names? It helps you overcome your fear. That's all I want you to do. Take one fear and take it off. Like, do I have fear of meeting people? You better believe not. I don't have that fear. I don't care who you are. I will find a name if I want, and obviously if I have a conversation, a number. I will be able to do that. I don't have any fear. Okay? But I've done that. What does Ian say? Lesson not learned is repeated. Lesson not learned is lesson repeated. So what is the first lesson in our system?
Get names.
Prospecting. Which is what? Getting names. Guys, do you have a problem getting names? No. He has learned his lesson. How many of you by next week can learn the lesson of getting names? And that's all. I didn't ask you to do too much. What did I ask? Get 20 names a day. And number 2 is listen to an appointment seeking. That's it. Could you do that? Huh?
Get the product.
That is important. Thank you for reminding me. I appreciate it. Thank you for keeping me on track. The third is obviously if you don't have the product, get your product, right? Those are the 3 things I'm asking you to do. How many of you think if you came with the same mindset of saying, okay, I'll get those 3 done, and next week we'll work on something else?
Yeah, excellent.
Would you move forward in this business?
Yes.
There is no way you will not, right? So don't make it look like you have to climb Mount Everest in one day. But if you don't do even one step, will you ever climb Mount Everest?
No.
Good. So I'd love to hear, what did you get out of our program today? Because I think you're pretty close to wrapping it up here.
6 minutes.
Got 6 minutes, right? So that's good enough. So what did you get out of being here today? Just shout out to me.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Very good. What else?
Something.
Huh?
Do something.
Do something. Very good. What else? Change your self-image. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. What else?
Build your skill set.
Yes, build your skill set. Nicole, have you built your skill set very well in the last few weeks here?
Have I what?
Have you built, I know, Indian accent gets in the way.
Have
Have you built your skill set in the last few weeks?
Oh, I would say my skill set's definitely built a lot in the last few weeks. My numbers prove it.
Yes? That's the point. Her numbers prove it. Yes,
Stop lying to yourself.
Stop lying to yourself. So if you are like, Vinesh, I'm not sure, I'm not feeling that confident, what is one exercise I told you to do? Preview your
Future.
Preview your future. What is something that you would like? And then watch that on YouTube or video or whatever else it is, repeatedly until you start assuming that's going to happen to you. In fact, how many of you haven't done something uncomfortable like walk through $1 million home or driven a car which is expensive that you can't afford to? Have you done that recently?
Have
Recently.
you? Raise
Huh?
your hand if you have.
If you have done this recently, raise your hand that you actually walked through some expensive home or drove a car. What was that, Jackie?
Bobby was what?
Oh yeah, that's
Besides.
important. That's what we call it.
Come on.
Huh?
Drove the car that I want, but
Drove a car that you want, right?
I went to Chris Booth's house, I drove his Tesla.
That's great, fantastic. So all that is good. So in the next week, let's promise to do one thing, uncomfortable thing about your vision, right? One uncomfortable thing. So for me, I'm not into cars as much, but I'll go test drive a car that is currently not something in my radar. Does that make sense to you? Right? I'll go test drive a car. That's something I'll commit to doing. What can you commit to doing in the next week, which is a little uncomfortable, but also gets you closer to believing that your dreams will come true? What is a car or what is something you'll do? Shout out to me.
Go check out a new Harley.
Go check out a new Harley. Great, fantastic.
Bigger
Huh?
house.
Huh?
Look at a bigger house.
Look at a bigger house. Okay, good. Plan a vacation. That sounds good, right?
Tesla.
Tesla. Okay. What else? Because again, fuel your dreams. Fuel your dreams. Because go ahead, Aristida.
Hire 5 RPPs.
Huh?
Hire 5 RPPs.
Hi. Okay.
Just kidding.
In the next week. This is next Tuesday, right? Next Tuesday. Between now and next Tuesday, do one thing which is uncomfortable, that's not normal, but it is in the direction of a lifestyle that you want. So turn to the person next to you and say, I will do that one thing. What is that one thing? Okay. Yeah, and make sure it is clear. Right, here is what will happen. Okay, let me get your attention to that. So, here is what will happen. Even if you said you may not do it. Right? Make yourself do it.
Make yourself do it.
Find somebody who can hold you accountable and go with them. Like you are married, right? You could hold yourself accountable to go do it, right? Find yourself, like Jenna and Chima there, right? Married, so you can go with your husband and wife and actually go do it. Why? Because it's easy if you have them together. It's not that difficult to go walk through a house in Saturday, Sunday, it's open house and you can do that. You know, most dealerships, Mike, are open till what time on Mondays and Thursdays? 9 p.m. You got enough time.
Do they let you drive cars?
Mike, what is your opinion?
They might drive
They might
I mean, you
don't
don't
want
want
to.
You gotta tell them you're there for a test drive, don't tell them you're just there
Yeah.
to drive it.
They're gonna ask.
No, I had somebody going not too long ago.
Yeah, so you would find, again,
Salesperson's gonna go with you, they're not just gonna give you the keys to the car.
Yeah, right.
exactly. So how many of you think you got value for being here? How many of you are going to tell Ian this was the worst 501 ever?
How many of us are gonna tell you that we know what?
I'm just
body over there.
Yeah.
I want to look like him. I'm sure my wife would be happy.
Questions?
Huh? Yeah. But anyway, I appreciate the opportunity. You know, the reason I'm here in front of you telling you the way it is because I believe, the reason I'm here telling you all of this is I believe each and every one of you have what it takes to be an RVP. Would you agree, Aristida?
Yes, sir.
Would you believe, Josh? So you have what it takes to be an RVP here. The question is not whether you have it. The question is, will you follow the directions long enough to get there?